on Purim. On Purim, so please go through it. I will not be able to go through it, all of these, but I touch only two of them, and all a few of them I could. And we call it off and we go quickly to our main limud, which is the continuation of our last week's Parasha Tetzaveh. There's a specific aspect of that Parasha that I want us to learn about. Halacha Gimel. I remember that the Rabbanim of Botzina Kadisha have covered quietly, or tremendously on this halachot. So probably it's just for the benefit of English-speaking community. Halacha Gimel. I read in English. I'm sorry I could not make it a copy of the Hebrew one. If one draws while reading the Megillah. So I started with the leading the Megillah. Why? Because tonight or this evening is the reading of the Megillah. If one draws while reading the Megillah, one has fulfilled one's obligation bediavad, provided one does not actually fall asleep. If you fall asleep, unfortunately, you haven't fulfilled your obligation. It's probably just like the halachot on a Birkat Hamazon. While you're reciting a Birkat Hamazon, and you doze and fall asleep, even if it's just a few seconds, it's unfortunate. Well, halacha requires that you go back. That's why so I can remember that halacha. However, it is only permitted to rely on this ruling after already having read the entire Megillah. Well, Ben Shchai says, made exceptional here. If one notices that the person reading the Megillah needs some of the verses, read some of these verses whilst drowsing, one must make him read them again. Halacha requires, according to Ben Shchai, that, well, there should be somebody who is standing alongside the Shirach HaTzibur. So when the one standing closer to the one who is reading the Megillah, notice that, well, the fellow is drowsing, so you are required to make the Shirach HaTzibur read the Megillah again. Halacha continues, if one drowses while hearing the Megillah, one has not fulfilled one's obligation, even bediavad, after the fact. So it says, halacha dictates that it's not only the one who is reading the Megillah, even the one who hearing the reading of the Megillah, because the obligation, not the only the obligation. The halacha requires us to hear the Megillah, the reading of the Megillah. Halacha continues, it is very important to be careful about this. Important, since it regularly happens that those listening, those of, we fall asleep. Kind of our Yetzer Hara is cropping in, and they make us dozy. Halacha continues, if one hears Kaddish, Kedusha, or Baruch while reciting the Megillah, one should answer the appropriate response. We know how we respond when it comes to all this. If one responded while in the middle of a verse, one should repeat the verse after reciting the response in order not to confuse the subject. I wanted to believe it's a straightforward to the passage of that halacha. Halacha continues, Gimel, if one had to answer a response between the two verses, which are connected, such as 2 verses in the book of Esther, chapter 4, as you could see there in the page, or in the group, on the pages, not on the group, or on the page, in the groups. That's the right way. Sorry, I'm reading so fast. And the Hatach went out to Mordechai. Oh, that pasuk in the book of Esther, chapter 4, and the pasuk or verse 6 to 7. And Mordechai told him, okay, the English translation, one should repeat both verses in order to preserve their continuity, meaning that by implication, well, you, even if there might be interruption there, well, you should continue the way it is, the halakha dictate. You should repeat both verses in order to preserve their continuity. In other words, if there is a Kaddish being recited, some of us are very slow, and not by nature. It's just because, well, we are some of us are learning the language, and to recite learning the language. We are not proficient in the language. By the time you get to where everybody is, where the congregation is, the congregation has gone that far. So Allah seems to have indicated here, or suggesting, not suggesting, but proposing, is that the right word? No, directing, instructing, that if the congregation is reciting Kaddish or Kedusha, by implication of that halakha, you are not allowed to continue with the reading of but rather respond to what is being said, meaning in Kedusha or Kaddish. But if you are in the middle of any of these verses being referred to here, meaning verse 6 and verse 7, you are required to repeat those verses in order to continue the flow and the flow of this, or the continuity of this particular verses. I will end with a 4 because of time, because we needed to get to prepare to go to our Beit Knesset to prepare for this very occasion. Halakha Dalet. The brachot recited before and after reading the Megillah must be recited while it's standing. Don't sit there unless there is a physical disability. Even if one reads the Megillah at home, no one sees me. No, it's not about your private corner. There is nothing. Everything, your walls, the curtains, everything that everywhere, everything. There is nothing without. I learned from my master, Rabbi Pinchas, who said, everything that you see has life. And they're correct. Because if it does not have life, then does not also exist. And it's not here. What is the existence of a thing? Is the Hebrew letter of that thing. Do not see, or do not think that you are not seen. You are seen. So you are required by halakha to stand. Even if you are in the Megillah itself may, however, be read while seated, but that also cancels the whole thing. It is correct that the Sharia has to read it while standing out of respect for the congregation. Now it is shifted. the idea a little bit shifted from how did it shift? First, it was speaking about, not first, there we see that even if you are alone at home, you're required to stand. Now, it diverted a little bit from you being alone in your private comfort or home to the congregation, that the Sharia Katzibur read the Megillah standing out of respect for the congregation. One should unroll the entire Megillah before reciting a bracha. You must unroll the Megillah, the scroll, before reciting the brachot. Since this is usually done while standing, one should prepare something, such as a chair or the bima, on which to lay the unrolled Megillah until one begins reading from it, so that it should not trail on the ground. You know, everything that the Chachamim are saying, do not take it lightly. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't dwell on that much more. Halacha, hey, if one forgot to recite Shechianu before reading the Megillah, and remembered after beginning to read it, one may recite the bracha as soon as one remembers. In my work, Makeup Tziel, I conclude that if one remembered only after having read the verse listing the 10 sons of Haman, meaning in Esther chapter 9 verse 6, one may not subsequently recite the bracha Shechianu, even though one has not yet completed reading the Megillah. This morning when I was going this very particular passage, and I was asking myself, okay, there is a passage that says, when you recite a passage that speaks about Haman's kids or the children, it should be recited in one breath. You don't pause, you continue. And I was trying to understand this very halakha, this very passage. He said, I concluded that if one remembered only after having read the verse listing the 10 sons of Haman, one may not subsequently recite bracha Shechianu, even though one has not yet completed the reading the Megillah. I was asking myself as to why not. Halacha Vav. It will answer us. If one did not read or hear even a single word of Megillah, one has not fulfilled one's obligation. If those words do not alter or detract from the meaning of the subject. If one follows the reading from a Megillah, which is not halachically acceptable to be read from, one must listen to the Sheliach HaTzibur, and one may not read quietly to oneself from it, together with the Sheliach HaTzibur. I go back. Okay, no, sorry. I thought I got something else, but yes, because of time. Sorry, we have to end here for today. B'ezrat Hashem, we will continue tomorrow. On this halachot, very interesting stuff there. When you look at the event that happened, or the narration of the Megillah, reading. And the passage, particularly the passages of those verses. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't get there for now, but B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we will. We will, because there are so many sorts, and everything is a sort, of course. So our main limud for today is a continuation of the last week's Parsha, Tetzaveh. I'm sorry that I have to do it quick, because not that I have to do it quick, I've got a limited time for today. I sent in the group the page. It's the same page. The same page that I have sent last week. I resent it again in the group. There we go. Let me briefly refresh our mind what we have discussed last week. Last week, according to Ari Kadosh, in his book called Ta'ameh HaMitzvot, as you can see in the page, we have left off when we talk about the name Havaya. When you take the name Havaya in Milui, Ari Kadosh speaks about or teach that in the name Havaya, at the level of Av, meaning the gematria value of that Milui, you have got 70. You have got 72, which is Av. Ari Kadosh said, in that Milui you have got 4 Yudin, 4 Yud, and those Yud, each one of them, by multiplying it by itself, it gives you 100. And therefore, Ari Kadosh said, this is equal to 400. Because therefore, plus the otiyot themselves, they come, or they amount to 404. And this gematria value is equivalent to that of the word Kadosh. Kadosh. Where do we find the word Kadosh? It's called, what is this? Is it a Teben? Oh, okay, it's called Hairbrand. Hairbrand is the head cover of a high priest. On a forehead, that's it. It's written there, that name holy. Where do we find it? It's in the Torah. It's in the Torah. What did Ari Kadosh is teaching about this? He said, within Haba is manifested the name Havaya spelled out with the letter Yud. And they went on to say, I'm just refreshing our mind where we have left off yesterday. Last week. And he said, this contains 4 Yudin, each of which possesses numerical value of 100. That's the combined numerical value of 4 Yudin of the 72 name is 400. Where exactly did we leave off? We leave off at this passage. If we add the 4 to the 4 Yudin themselves, we reach the numerical value of the word Holy Kadosh, as we have explained elsewhere. Meaning, Ariya Kadosh is telling us that he explained this concept, this idea elsewhere in his teaching. And we also learned that the light of the four internal mentalities, what are these four mentalities? Meaning these four Yudin, this Yud in the name Havaya, this is what is called internal mentalities of Abba. And it says, maybe I should, okay, no, this is where we have left off the other time. Okay, continuation. It says, Vehaya Boka or, the page is in the group, or Dalet, meaning four, Mochin, Hapanimim, the Abba, Lachut, Bemtzach, the Za, Mebet, Tzadit, Hamtzach, Etzel, Aznaim, Sod, Atzadim, Hayotze, Haorot, Chochma de Abba, Vechasidim, Shebidaat de Abba, Metzat, Ze, Ve'aorot, Bina, Ve'gevra, Matzat, Ze. What is he saying? The light of the four mentalities represented by the four letters, meaning the Yudin in the name Havaya by Miluim, pieces outside or outward. Meaning, what does that mean? Ariya Kadosh is saying the light or the Mochin of Abba for Za to have the Mochin of Abba, the Abba in this case is the Yud, who is called Abba, has to dissolve, to devolve, has to descend to Za. How does it happen? We will see. And this is what is called the all internal mentalities. But once they enter Za, whether we call it the brain of Za, Ariya Kadosh is saying, they piece out. They piece out outside. What is out? What does that outside mean? Outward. Outward, so that they can be seen, so that they can manifest. They enter Za, but they must manifest outside the world. How does it happen? Pieces outside the forehead of Za Ampin, meaning Za, we know that we are talking about the Vav of the name Havaya. We are talking about 6 Sefirot, which is the body, specifically from the two sides of the forehead adjacent to the ears. What is this mean? It means, this is the skull. I do not have my board today. This is the skull, the head. What does it mean forehead? This is for the forehead here. But Ariya Kadosh says this, talks about the two sides of the head. where exactly I am pointing, because this is use the word etzer as naim, meaning along just these are the two spots of the head closer to the forehead. But what does it 2 minutes? Okay. Oh, well, okay. I've got 2 minutes. The radiance of Chokhmah of Abba and the state of Chesed within the heart of Abba is also from the right side. We know that once we have got always Chokhmah is on the right. And immediately that excess gives birth to Chesed. And the Chesed gives birth to Netzach. Whereas the left, which is Bina, gives birth to Gevurah. Gevurah gives birth to Hod. This, the mentality of Abba that manifests outside, it manifests only on these two sides. But, however, there is one element. It says these are four mentalities. But how is it? Because we have got Chokhmah, we have got Bina, and the Bina has got Chesed. I mean, not Bina, but Chokhmah is Chesed, and we do have got here Gevurah. But yet here it speaks about again the art. It looks that according to Arya Kadosh here, the art has got also two aspects. What are these aspects? The Chesed of the art and the Gevurah of the art. 4 mentalities. Dear friend, we are being pressed by time. All what I wanted to continue, B'ezrat Hashem, I will continue this because it ties up with what Rabbi Nechunia Hakaneh taught about the Shefa to this world. And we see the reflection of our master, Rabbi Nechunia Hakaneh, that we see that his teaching. We see his teaching in this very element, or not this element, in this aspect of Arya Kadosh's teaching. Yes, it's the same lineage, it's the same Mesorah that our master, Arya Kadosh, of this teaching that we are following. And I wanted to pursue because I had a very, very interesting limud by my master, Rabbi Pinchas Eliyahu Shaddai, about this very particular topic that we need to understand in order for us to come out of mental slavery and physical slavery. Dear Chaverim, thank you very much for affording me this very short time to share with you. Hope to join you again, B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.